Hey guys, so I just finished tweaking a little bit the setup. I added a few more plants and finally I got it to a point where I can say, okay, it looks better. It's a brand new tank, it's 2 weeks old, so finding all the plants that I wanted and making it as I wanted, it was a process. It looked bare for a little while, but now it looks a little bit better. There are some plants that need to grow in the back a little more. But what I wanted to tell you about today, two things. I know most of you watching are plant lovers and mainly orchid lovers, and the world of aquascaping is a brand new world, so I will definitely make some more beginner-friendly videos to explain to you guys exactly what this thing is all about and how we do things and so on, and just discover the magical world of underwater gardening, which is absolutely fantastic. I do realize that in my videos I kind of spoke as all of you knew what the heck I was talking about, right? I get it. I need to go back a little bit to a more beginner-friendly mindset. Aquascaping generally is not a beginner hobby. You need to go through just keeping plants alive first. So anyway, I will make sure to make a series of videos in which I explain a little bit what everything does, how things work, and so on. So that's number one. Second, about my aquascaping abilities. I don't consider myself a very fantastic aquascaper. I never was, but I did realize something after 15 years of taking a bit of a break from it. I kind of realized why I was never excelling necessarily at it, or I don't think I was excelling at it. So I'll tell you a little bit about what aquascaping is, or what's the most popular version of it. It's pretty much creating a so-called nature aquarium. This is a term that I do believe was first invented by what I call, and I think most of us in the hobby call, the father of aquascaping, Takashi Amano, which sadly passed away a few years ago. He brought this idea of creating a natural scape into our homes, a natural underwater scape. And while his creations were not necessarily identical to what you would find in nature, unless we are talking about a biotope style aquarium, which literally has the same plants, the same brown water, let's say, or the same type of water and the same type of fish and plants as a natural place that exists. Unless we're talking about biotopes, aquascaping and aquatic gardening is not necessarily very natural, but it does imitate it very, very well. So the most popular, let's say, trend or artistic style, better said, of aquascaping is a more natural scape, a more simplistic, let's say, something that you could actually find in nature, not necessarily underwater. Imagine you're in a forest. What do you have? You have some mosses on the ground, you have some trees, you have some bushes, right? Well, imagine that put underwater. Now, in order to obtain such a scape, there were a few rules that we needed to keep in mind, and especially when it comes to composition, we're deeping a little bit into painting compositions and exactly where we placed our hardscapes in the aquarium to create a good composition that relaxes the eye. Also, when choosing plants, it was a good idea not to choose a million types of plants and so on, but rather stick to only a few that would not necessarily stand out. You wanted to create a painting that was just harmonious as it was, and it was depicting a natural scape. Pretty much that is the most common type of aquascaping, or the most appreciated type of aquascaping we know. And all of my life I tried to copy that to some extent, and I always failed because I always started off with the rules and then I went and did something that was totally different because I felt like it, and it was never right. And this is because I tried to do something that I didn't like. To be fully honest, I discovered after so many years that what I like is not a nature aquarium. I don't like to necessarily follow the composition rules, and I don't necessarily want to create an image that exists in nature. I really actually don't. What I want to create is a whimsical picture. And it kind of hit me when my fiance said, "Wow, it looks nice. It looks artificial though." And I looked at it and I realized it does. It looks so artificial. I mean, I got pink plants. I got variegated plants. I got this light-colored substrate. It does look artificial. I like to create a very fairy tale-y and very whimsical image. And to create this, I go bonkers with the plants and all sorts of textures and all sorts of colors. Would you find a pink bush in the forest? No, no. This is why maybe the pink flamingo is not all that used. Usually when we use reds in aquascaping, we tend to go for more muted reds, like more browny reds in that particular type of aquascape. The only aquascaping style, which is not so popular, sadly, but I love it, that comes close to what I like, is a type of scaping called Dutch aquascaping, which actually means very little to no hardscape, meaning rocks and wood, as you see, but a whole lot of plants. Pretty much a garden, an abundance of plants of all textures and colors. And I love Dutch aquascaping. It's really hard to maintain. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of nutrients and all of that. So I did try a little bit, but again, it's not necessarily identical to what I like, but I prefer it to the nature type of aquarium. And I kind of realized why I prefer it, because it doesn't try to restrict itself to something you would find natural, but it kind of goes bonkers with plants and the textures and the colors and all of that. So what I like to do is, I guess, a bit of a mixture of everything. Yes, I do have the wood and the hardscape because I do find it creates a beautiful contrast with the plants. But the plant choice for me is not restricted. I don't like restrictions. I actually like the look of, I guess I wouldn't call it artificial because it has kind of a negative connotation in this hobby, but I would go for whimsical. So I'm gonna call my style a whimsical aquascape, and I'm sure others have the same style as well. I did see other people combining Dutch with nature aquariums, with the ones that use hardscape, and they were like, well, it's a sort of a hybrid, I guess. Let's just call it what it is. It is more of an artificial type of scape, a more whimsical, fairy tale-y type of scape. Because really, I got like red and yellow shrimps. I got Gertrude, I don't know how you pronounce the rainbow fish, which flare and they look like fairies. I got a lotus in the back, which will look absolutely amazing when it grows. Maybe it's gonna even bloom. I might let it bloom, who knows. I got the flamingo crypt. This does not look natural, does it? And well, it doesn't have to. And I think I'm starting to realize what I like and embrace it, because once you realize what you want, you're gonna stop trying to mesh other styles that others like and say that you should do necessarily. So I guess the reason why my scapes were subpar, very subpar in the past and like in the recent years as well, I think were because I was trying to mesh the nature style with the Dutch style, with my whimsicalness that many of you know that I have, and it ended up looking garbage. So I'm just going to embrace my whimsical aquascaping style, and I will go for very whimsical plants. I absolutely love the hydrocortile and how it contrasts with the bucephalandras, with the pink crypt, with the very red Altharanthera, with everything, even with the woods. I'm not trying to create a natural landscape here. I'm just not, and I realized it very recently. And I'm gonna embrace it because that's what I like. And that's the good or nice thing, even in aquascaping, where we typically reward the tanks that look more natural, right? Which is good, it's fine, and I think it's beautiful as well. It's just not for me. It doesn't bring me joy when I look at it, right? So the beauty of creating something you like is that you don't necessarily need to have restrictions, and the more you try to copy the other things that maybe are more popular, the more it's not gonna end up well, I feel like. So I'm embracing this style. That's pretty much what I wanted to tell you. Hope it makes sense. Hope I managed to put in perspective a little bit what this hobby is all about. I will try to make some beginner videos because even with the whimsical madness that you see here, it's not easy to keep this in good condition, trust me. And it took me many years to figure it out. We had very little resources like 20 years ago, or a little less than 20 years ago, I guess, when I was very young and I was trying to grow some plants. But now, everything is much easier, I feel like, and I'm hoping to spread the love. You might actually love nature aquariums, you might love minimalistic scapes, but you might also love very whimsical scapes. And you know what? That's fine, because the theory and the practice is the same. It's all about what you choose to put in here, right? So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching and listening to me. Tell me in the comments what you would like me to focus on. I'm gonna try to structure it in a very beginner friendly type of way. Starting with the beginning is just hard to remember what the beginning should be at this point, you know? But I will do it. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you've enjoyed just watching my tank. Let me know how you feel about the whimsical aquascapes. All right, with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye.